you're talking, sometimes it's hard to find candidates to fill a seat, and we've got some extras tonight. That's a good thing, okay? So thank you very much for doing that. Ground rules for the evening are really simple. We're going to be very informal. Candidates will first respond to the 3 questions that you got before in the letter, right? You saw those questions? Okay. Yeah. Well, we didn't send you anything, so. Each candidate is going to be allowed to have about 2 minutes. Again, it's informal, so if you're a little more than that, great. I doubt we're going to go much longer than that for any of them, but any questions. But we're going to shoot for about 2 minutes apiece on your answers, okay? When all of the candidates have finished all 3 of the questions, then we'll go to the audience and ask if you have questions, and you'll present your questions to all of the candidates. We don't want to look like a debate here, okay? We're going for all candidates to respond to all questions. So, so try and think that way when you ask your question. Then we'll give each candidate a couple minutes to respond to each of those questions again, all right? Everybody should understand that this is a public forum. We're here to learn about the candidates. This is not a debate. We're not fighting back and forth here. We're here to learn about these folks and see what kind of potential council people we have on our stage here tonight, okay? So we're going to try and conclude this about 8:30. If you have questions, we'll go till 8:30. If you're done with questions, we'll probably quit before then, okay? You better sit around and look at each other. So let's start by asking each of the candidates to introduce themselves. Just give us a little bit of your background, name, background, what do you do, and so on. We'll start with Rob.
All right, can everybody hear me? All right. I'm Rob Clucky, lived in Hawarden since 1999. Moved here when I got a job with the Sioux County Conservation Board. I'm married to Michelle Clucky. I have 3 girls, Emily, Brianna, and Madeline, junior, freshman, and an 6th grader, so hope I ever get that right. But anyway, love Hawarden. I call it our home. We've been here. It's a good community. I work for Sioux County Conservation, done that since I've been here. It's probably all I know, but I have worked for them for that long, and really enjoy what I do and the parks we take care of, and just glad to be here tonight. So.
Hi, thanks everybody for coming, and thanks to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this. My name's Jessica Butler. I'm 26, and I'm a social worker, and I serve primarily Hawarden families. And I've lived in Hawarden for over 3 years, and I do call it my home. And I am pretty heavily involved in the community, so I feel like I've met all of you guys at least a little bit face to face. And I plan on calling Hawarden my home for a really long time.
Thank you. Tim, you're up.
Hi, I'm Tim Kurth, married to Carol Frakes, and we live here, 17 years now, something like that. Moved from Twin Cities area, came down here, semi-retired. I worked for the city a little bit, and work on remodeling the old city hall and doing maintenance on Calliope Village. And with 2 of the 3 incumbents not running, I thought it was important to run again, just to have the transition with our new city administrator go as smooth as possible. But I'm really happy that we got 5 people running for this office, and it's really great.
Thank you. Bob.
Hi, I'm Bob Bach. I work at the school. I was band director for 10 years. Some of you sitting out there were my students. And now I keep the computers running for all the students, K through 12, computers and iPads. And I'm married to Melinda. She's a teacher up there, 3 kids. Some of you may know Kelsey. She works at Casey's and while she's going to school, and Kaylee and Kyler, and they are a senior and sophomore. We've lived here 17 years, and this is the only home the kids really know. So.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Jen?
Hi, my name is Jen Bergsma. I grew up in Orange City, graduated from MOC, also graduated from Northwestern College with a degree in business administration. After that, met and married Todd Bergsma, my husband. He works for the Sioux County Sheriff's Office. He's been there for about 16 years. We've lived here for about 15 years, and in that time I've worked at First State Rivers Edge Bank, formerly First State Bank. It's still real new for me to do that, but I've been there for 14 years. We have 2 children, Megan, she's 14, and Connor, he's 9, and they both attend West Sioux.
Okay, thank you very much. First, we're going to go around and answer the 3 questions that you received in the letter prior to this meeting. We'll start with the first question. Why are you seeking a seat on the Hawarden City Council, and what skills and experience can you contribute to the council? Anybody want to start? We're going to rotate, so it doesn't matter who starts. We'll go
start.
with Rob.
That's fine. Why am I seeking this seat? I'm seeking this seat because I thought it was time for me to do so. I wanted to get involved in the community. I've been asked before in the past about running, and at that time I really hadn't lived here long enough. I didn't feel at that time, but and new in the job and just kind of wanted to, at that time I didn't feel I had the skills necessary, but now I do. Some things I can contribute to the council. I've been involved with different boards over the years that I've been in Sioux County. I know how the budget system works. I know a little bit about IPERS and insurance and all those things. So I think I can bring a little bit to the table on those aspects. So.
Okay. You just want to go around?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
sure. I'm interested in serving on the council because I care about our community and the people in it. I feel Hawarden has a lot of potential to grow, and I feel my experience living in and serving families of our community gives me a unique perspective as a future council person to meeting the needs of residents in Hawarden. Aside from my professional experiences, in my time, I like to help volunteer at the community dinners every month, and I like to bring social services pamphlets to people who are walking through. And so I think that being in the community like that, I'm able to develop relationships and interactions with people that I think would be a good insight to bring to the city council agenda. And I'm also a part of the Sioux County Planning Council and the multi-disc meetings, and so I'm really familiar with a lot of resources in the area and with a lot of things that are going on in our community.
Okay, thank you. Tim?
Well, I just thought I'd run again because I thought it was important to have a smooth transition with the new administrator. But I'm so happy that 5 people are running, so I'm just happy that the city's going to get some good people running here. That's it.
Okay, Bob?
Lived here 17 years, felt it was my turn to serve the community, give back a little bit, and, in my current role, I work with administration on budgets all the time, and we have to find ways to, funding sources to complete projects at school all the time, and I've worked with the city on a few items, and I think I'll enjoy it.
Okay. Jen?
I am seeking a seat on city council because I think I have a lot of skills that will help me in various parts of all that we may encounter on the city council. With my degree in business administration, that was pretty general, pretty broad degree, just kind of helps encompass like everything, different facets of the business. I've also served as a deacon at Community Reformed Church. It kind of gave me the experience to work with people on a board to help make decisions to work together for the good of the church. I've also been involved with the Chamber Retail Committee, and that has allowed me to be involved with the community to help plan events such as the Festival of Trees, Trunk or Treat, Small Business Saturday, and those things, those traditions, trying to keep those going and also trying to brainstorm new events that can come to the community. I think my biggest skill and everything would be to be working at Rivers Edge Bank. They have given me the training that I think that I need for any kind of financial decision, to analyze different things, to kind of get more information, just to make a nice, sound decision. at River's Edge or at First State Bank, we have been so encouraged to be involved in our community. I have had just so encouragement for me to go out and to be involved and to shop here, to worship here, to be involved in school activities and stuff, and just to be a community member, because that's what we are as a community bank. And I give that credit to Don, because he's really encouraged us to help with those kind of things.
Okay, thank you. Our second question is, what are the city's 3 most important problems and/or opportunities right now? And how do you believe the council should address those issues? We'll start with Jessica.
Okay. Well, I've been attending the city council meeting since about January, and I've missed a few of them, but it seems that most of the city council meetings are focused on like infrastructure and keeping the community up to date on, opportunities in the, what's going on in town. But I would hope that in the future we could work on expanding housing availability to people. Not everybody is in a place to buy a house, and I think that if we could make Hawarden a more attractive place to live by expanding housing options, I think that that could really bring in some new people and even keep current residents. So housing is something that I do care about, and I think that as a city council person that it would be important to work on issues around that. Infrastructure upkeep is important. I don't think it's like a pressing issue, but it's something that's always talked about at the council meetings. Another issue I think that is important to be addressed is economic development. Hawarden is it's a commuter town, and I mean, I commute. I have to drive to Orange City every day, and I think that it'd be important to discuss, economic, businesses to bring to Hawarden so that people could stay here instead of having to, drive back and forth all the time, and just stay in Hawarden and not have to drive that much. What else? And I also care about community involvement. I think it's really important that we all care about our neighbors, and that if we could do that, that this would be a much more pleasant place to live, like not just Hawarden, but the world. And so if we could work on providing opportunities to meet our neighbors, I think that that would be something that the city council could help facilitate.
Okay, thank you. Tim, you're up.
Well, first of all, I think economic development would be really a nice thing to continue improving. We've talked about hiring a director for the city, and it's not been on a high priority, but I'm hoping that we get a little higher with the next council. But that'll have to wait until the new administrator gets hired and see what input he has on it. I'd like to see Avenue L get paved. We're trying to do a street every other year or so, and we don't want to get too much debt for the city, but we've really improved our bottom line in the last 5 years or so. We've increased the assets of the city by over $1 million. We've cut back on staff and stuff that we haven't needed. And I'm not saying that we can't improve or hire a few people or something, but Gary Tucker has done a really good job of keeping track of the money and stuff and how to improve our economic development. So that's about it.
Okay, Bob?
The new city administrator is an exciting time for Hawarden, and the transition that will come with it. I'm glad that they're going to be able to work together for a while, because Gary's done a great job. And then, we really need to move forward in economic development, like everybody's going to say, but then we can't be afraid to, get some housing here for the people that are bringing jobs here. We want to make sure that, when they open their businesses here, that they can live here, and then the infrastructure, it's exciting to see the stuff going on around town. It has been this year, moving all the meters outside and putting all the lines underground, and we just got to keep moving forward, and we're municipal, and we provide cable and internet, and those are important, and we're going to have to keep those up to date.
Okay, thank you. Jim?
Just like everybody has said, I think the same thing. A lot of things that we hear is lack of growth, economic development. That's always easier said than done. But I feel that if we support our economic development committee and discussions that go forth with that, we can definitely enhance our community so that we can grow. In turn, that would create more opportunity. I think that it will just have an effect on every part of our community. Updating the infrastructure with the streets, burying the cable lines, even getting rid of some abandoned houses, those kind of things, just visually enhance everything. And I think that that would make an inviting place for everybody to call home, and it would just increase our quality of life. With new businesses that come to town, with a visually, we have a community that is working really, really good. The new jobs that come bring people, bring houses, if they want to build, all of that kind of stuff, and it's just a snowball effect from there. I think it will have an effect on all businesses here in town. City utilities, taxes, all of that increases. Another opportunity is that we have 2 key retirements happening here pretty soon with Gary and Tom, and I think that they have created a staff of city people that have absolutely exceeded such great service. To keep that momentum going with the new administrator and with new employees that come would be a really, really good asset for us to have here as new businesses come to town.
Okay, Rob?
Well, that don't leave me a lot to add to. But anyway, I wrote down 3 things, and really, we suffer from the same thing all these small towns do right here in Sioux County is affordable housing, not only affordable housing, but good quality housing. So, I think that's something we need to work on, and of course, jobs and business opportunities. The more people we have coming here, the more opportunities we have for that. So, and then, continuing on, the city's done a wonderful job with our street improvements. I'd like to see that continue, and utilities upgrades, and bring everything on track for the next 20 years. So,
Okay, thank you. The third question is, do you believe the city fiscal policies and practices are sound? Or is there some adjustment that should be made in how the council spends taxpayer money? And we'll start with Tim on that one.
Well, so far in the last 5-6 years, with Gary's leadership, we've really improved our bottom line. We've gotten over $1 million more in assets and stuff that we've cut back on staff that wasn't necessary, but we've improved our economic bottom line all across the board. It's really a great time for the city, and we do have some possibilities for future infrastructure improvement, but I'm happy with the way it's gone, and I think if we can continue this way, like I say, possibly hire an economic director, but it's just been a really good 5 years, so I'm happy.
Bob?
Yeah, like Tim said, I watch the city council meetings on Channel 10 too. Yeah, we're looking very viable right now, and we need to make sure the transition with the new city administrator and Tom Kane, great point, that we keep moving forward, but we don't want to burden ourselves too much.
Okay. Jen?
Well, without being on the city council, it's hard to know exactly what's out there, but I am safe to assume that the policies are sound of what we've seen. We've seen the new roads, we've seen the electrical lines. Also, to me, that says that they are using the money wisely, because me at home, I am now I don't have to worry about our electric going out, because we know that those kind of things are underground, and that just kind of gives people a sense of security. And by having those kind of services for people as they come to town, they're going to know that. And that's one thing that they will like. With the city keeping up, another thing is keeping up with the clean parks, walking trails, all of this. It's just another way that new businesses, they'll see the community around them, and that's their potential customers who are living here. And by seeing those kind of amenities for everybody, maybe gives them a better customer base to look for. And how we spend taxpayer money, I know that we need really good, sound decisions. I can feel that with my background working at the financial institution and all the training that I have, we can really help make those decisions with taxpayers' money. I also know the importance of it. I do the same thing at the bank. That's not my money. They have trusted me to make the decisions to get a loan. To give a loan. They've trusted me with those decisions to put money on deposit. I feel very confident about that, and I know it's not my money. So I know I have to have a really good decision made before it's all done, and trust that I'll make a very honest decision.
Rob?
All right. I believe the city's done quite well the last few years, or last several years. I think they've been pretty physically responsible with the budget. I commend them for stepping up and taking that leadership on and doing the things that need to be done. With the transition that's going to take place, we want to continue that. There's always room for improvement, no matter what kind of government you're in. There's things that you can work on. So with that experience, I'd like to try to continue to do that to make sure that people aren't just wasting your money out there. And I think there isn't anybody really up here that I don't see a problem with that. But, you know, being in the line as the past administration and stuff, they work very hard. And it takes a lot of time on their part, and I want to thank them for that. Hopefully we can continue to do as well. So.
Okay. Jessica?
After looking through the fiscal year report from 2016, I was happy to learn that the assets of the town exceeded liabilities by over 17 million, and of that, 5 million is unrestricted and may be used to meet ongoing obligations to citizens and creditors. And I thought that was pretty awesome. You have to like kind of dig into that document to like get to the basics of it, but I was pretty pleased to know that. And yeah, it just seems like the nuts and bolts of the town are really running efficiently with how the budget is being worked on, and the debt of the town. The city's long-term debt reflected a significant decrease, over $500,000, as a result of debt repayment and no additional debt obligations last year. And so I think that if we can continue on that path and collaborate and work together to make sure that whatever projects there are to be had is, you know, obviously discussed and made sure that the community is a part of those big decisions, because it is the taxpayer dollars. And so I think that they've done a pretty good job.
Okay. Thank you very much, candidates. That's the first three questions. Now it comes to the audience. If you have questions, I'd like to hear them. And again, remember, we're addressing to all five of them. They all have an opportunity to speak to whatever question you give them, okay? Okay, time to go home. Must be another question someplace.
Guess I'll pop the chair.
Okay, good, go for it.
One question I have for all five of you and for the public at large is, how would you increase involvement in city council meetings by not only the youth, but also by the Hispanic population of this community? I see around, and I believe maybe one of three, if that, people currently here. I understand there are some language barriers, but I just want to know what you would do to reach out to that populace.
Okay, and we're going to start with Bob in that response.
Youth, one thing we could do is work with the teachers that, teach government and social studies to get the kids up here. And I talked with Mr. Dorhout. I thought maybe they're going to have some of the kids up here for this, and make sure we're educating the kids on the reason we're going to vote when you're able to vote. And the kids that are 18, I've talked with them. I said, I don't care who you vote for. Get out there and vote, as far as that goes. And the Hispanic population, the stuff that we've done at school is we've attempted to create an environment that is welcoming for everyone. And, when the city council meetings are shown on 10, I believe that there is technology out there where you can, if you need to translate it, you can translate it. And as far as, we want to do the same thing for any disabilities or anything too. We want to make sure all of that is available to everybody in town.
Okay, Jim?
I think trying to get the youth involved in city council is just being out there, being aware, and actually going out and talking to these kids, and trying to tell them what is all involved, and just to kind of see once if you spark any interest there in any of the city government things that are going on, maybe by asking questions of what they think, and just trying to maybe just bring awareness to them about really what's going on, but by actually going out to them and talking to them, that kind of thing. With the Hispanic population, like you said, with the barrier there, that's probably not a big deal. We can always have somebody in, in the city council to translate anything that somebody may have a question on. But again, just to maybe go out and ask questions of what they want to see with their community. And maybe if we can get that out there in something that, if the language is a barrier that they do understand, then definitely take all of that, listen up to them, and see once if they have any interest with what we are doing with all of the city policies, those kind of things.
Rob, you're up.
All right. Well, it's good to see a few kids out there tonight. So, but really, it's us as parents need to get our kids more involved in trying to know what's going on in the community, and maybe we don't always do the best job we could do as parents to get them here. And I know the school works hard, and maybe that's something we can incorporate, is getting more activities with the school and the city council, more involvement. As far as the Hispanic population goes, we are a diverse community. I don't know what percentage we are, probably over 30% anyway, Hispanic. Getting them involved in this, we have a lot involved in church. They do, at the church I go to the Catholic church, so we get a lot in our school age groups and throughout the church, and they do want to know what's going on. So, just getting that information out to them and getting them here is probably what we need to work on. So.
Okay, Jessica.
I think a way that we can get people more involved in the community is by getting to know our neighbors and letting people know that they're cared for, and that they're not in this alone. And it's not always have to be like a serious topic, but I feel like sometimes we're very isolated from our neighbors. And I think that if we could have events that are diverse, and like for example, like Orange City has a Latino festival, and I think that something like that would be really awesome if we brought to Hawarden, and it would help us to interact with our neighbors who have, come from different backgrounds or speak different languages. And so I think that, language barrier, cultural barriers, but I think that, we're all human, and so if we can just reach out and show each other that we care, like, people would be more involved and feel that their voices matter, and that they'd be able to stand up and come to city council and say, hey, this is my concerns, or hey, I like this. This is good. I think we should continue this. So I think that is some way that we could involve the Hispanic community for youth. I feel like I am in that group as a millennial. I think Facebook is a pretty easy target in trying to get people involved in the community, inviting folks to, hey, the community dinner's coming up, or hey, this event's going on, hey, city council meetings tonight, they're talking about these issues that you might find important, why don't you join us? So I know there's lots of different options. I just think that if we could come together as a community, we'd be able to have everybody's voice heard.
Okay, Tim?
I'm not really sure how to involve the Hispanic community more. I know we've got a member in the board of the library now that's in a Hispanic heritage or whatever, but it seems like we should try harder to get some sort of dialogue going, but I'm not sure what it should be. So maybe if you would come and talk to us a little bit and suggest something, because we've talked about it, and we've tried to get more people involved, but it just doesn't seem to be working. So we need some help.
So I'd be more than happy to do so. Some of you may know who I am. I'm an assistant coach for the West Sioux Youth Soccer Club. I meet with pretty much all of my players are Hispanic or Hispanic background. All of their parents are first-generation American or half-generation Americans, much like myself. They came over here as children. And there is that cultural barrier, there is that language barrier, there is always that, well, don't know what to do. And the last few months, I've been really trying to work with them, trying to coach them, saying, you know, we have a forum coming, please come and make your voices be heard, because if your voice cannot be heard, then nobody knows what you need.
True. Thank you very much. Appreciate the
And,
question.
one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
What do you feel is the best part of our community?
We'll start with Jen on that one. The question was, what is the best part of our community?
Yeah, what do you feel is the best part of our community?
Okay. So many options.
Yeah, there's too many. I think back to when Todd and I went to church for the first time, and we didn't know anybody. It was just our first year of being here in town. And when you go to a small church like that, there's a lot of, talk around. And at the end of the service, and then we went downstairs for some drinks and pie and all of that. And at the end of the service, somebody had come up to Todd and asked if his mother was a Faber. And what was really neat is they had done the Dutch bingo all the way around, and just to try to get to know who we were. And the amount of outpouring of just, we're always here for you, those kind of things, just really gave us a good, solid view of maybe what our community is like, because all of these people are out in our community, and we just felt so welcome at that time about the people that care about you so much and support you.
Okay, thank you. Rob?
I was going to say definitely the people. I think when we first moved here, people welcomed us in. We went to a lot of different gatherings, invited you to play on the pool league, bowling alley, whatever. Everybody is real easy to get along with here in Hawarden, and it is a diverse community. I think that makes us special in that way. Other things we can take that we have taken advantage of, I think I'm a little biased, but our parks are really nice over here on this side of the county. We got two terrific parks, one north of town, one south of town. We got great trail system. We got a city pool. We got golf course right here. It's just a lot of things you can do on the recreational side of things, and I really enjoy that. So,
Okay. Jessica?
I also enjoy the people. Before moving to Hawarden, I lived in the city, and it definitely wasn't for me, but moving to Hawarden, I've been able to get to know my neighbors, and my neighbors make me cookies, and I make them cookies, and we chit-chat, and we grab coffee, and so I think that those things are what's special about Hawarden, and I hope that everybody's able to have those kind of opportunities. But yeah, things like classes at the library, little events that they have going on, stuff at the pit, stuff at Oak Grove, those opportunities are awesome. Families I work with, I'm always like, go to those, they're so much fun. Get out of the house when it's cold. And I like Hawarden because it's everything that I need is here. I got a grocery store, I got the thrift store, I got a hospital in case I break a leg, and I got family and I have friends, and so I just think that I'm pretty lucky to have all of the things that I need here in one place.
Okay, thank you. Tim?
I think the best part about the town is just the safety, the comfort. I mean, when I first moved here, I couldn't believe the number of cars that people would leave the keys in the ignition, windows roll. I mean, I came from the Twin Cities, and you never, I mean, I did work at Dayton's as a janitor when I was going to college, and one of the guys said, don't lock your car, because they're going to break in if your car is locked. If you leave it open, they'll just open the door and see that whatever you've got, and if they want it, they'll take it. But don't lose your windows to have that. And here, people leaving, I mean, sometimes they leave the cars running, and they're going inside for 5-10 minutes, and you're going, how can you do that? But apparently it works, so I'm happy.
Okay, Bob?
Yeah, I grew up in Sioux City, and, my wife made her decision we weren't going to raise our kids in the city, and safety. I do, I mean, the kids go to the park and, and I like the events in town too, that a lot of people talk to the different meals that the different churches have, and everybody goes, it seems like they all go to all of them, and it doesn't really matter. And it's just, yeah, it's a great little town. I like this one.
Okay. Thank you very much. Excellent questions.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mario.
Other questions? Anybody? You don't have to go up to the podium. You can stand up or shout or whatever.
I got just a couple questions. I've lived here all my life, and I've seen from when I was younger to what it is now, Hawarden is two different places. It used to be when I was younger, everybody lived in this town, everyone worked in this town. My question is, what are you as the city council willing to do to bring a business to this town? Are you willing to go to the other communities? Let's say, for example, Rock Valley, Sioux Center, Hall. Those communities are thriving and growing. Are you willing to go to them and say, what are you doing right? That's my first question.
Okay.
I
Who
think,
do we start with?
Me, last time.
Rob starts.
What you're saying, I understand, and those are tough questions that you have to ask. First off, to get a business to come down, you gotta go there, and you have to have something for that business to bring. And whether it's workers or whether it's incentives or whether it's investors from the city themselves, there's a lot that goes into just getting a business to want to move to your community. And I think, as all of us would say, we'd strive to do the best we can. And be open to going to other towns and find out what they're doing right. Agriculture is a big part of it, and Rock Valley has done well, but they also have a lot of city investors that invest right back into the city. And that's something we just have to grow here as a community too, to get people to want to invest back into their community. And it can be done, but it's a long road, and it's not something you can just have a magic wand and wish that would happen. There has been a lot of businesses have left, and with the economy the way it is, the mergers, some of them got bought out or shifted around, and that happens. It'd be nice to get a good, strong manufacturing business and come in. So,
Jessica.
I think that, well, I mean, if the other towns are being successful and being able to maintain businesses and recruit new business, yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing to communicate with them and say, hey, what does work, what isn't working? Maybe we should talk, people in Hawarden, we should talk to the people who currently have businesses here. Like, hey, what keeps you in Hawarden? Is there something that would deter you from keeping your business here? So I think maybe it's just a lack of communication or organization and a need for, and I think the person would be called like an economic coordinator person to really step up and go out of town and ask and talk to people. And if city council can be a part of that, I think that would be something that I'd be interested in. I think that even manufacturing jobs, I know that there used to be the lamb farm and that left, and if we could just bring jobs back and even other types of businesses, it's not a bad thing to try and collaborate with other towns and seek other ideas if we haven't tried them.
Tim?
Well, unless we increase our labor, there's no way we're going to really get any big businesses or anything to come to this town. I'm sorry that it's working that way, but we just don't have the resources. Or somebody like Sioux Falls, they can have 500 jobs right now filled, where Hawarden has trouble filling 5. It's really tough, and there's no magic wand. The only way we're going to, I think, get a real business is if we have somebody local that wants to invest in something, and we can develop that. But the idea that we can go out and compete with the big cities when we don't have a strong labor market, I think it's futile.
Bob?
Yeah, and I think also we may not want to just go to the surrounding communities. We might want to go, even farther and ask what's going on and have the whole city council go and see if they can come back with some ideas how to bring these businesses in town. But, yeah, and we need housing too. In order to get people, you're going to have a place for them to live before they can come here and work. So maybe it's, start a new housing development or build up some new apartments.
Okay. Jen?
I think that the main thing that what we would need is we would definitely need somebody to come in here, and we would have to pursue that expense and everything, and just need the training for us to be able to develop a brand-new business or to go out there and to know what kind of incentives to give a business. For now, that's kind of what I would think is we would just need help being able to try and draw a new business in.
My second question is, it's kind of based on that too, is a lot of focus, and I pay attention to the city council meetings, I watch them on Channel 10 and all this stuff, and I read all about it. One of the main focuses that it seems that economic development has, bringing a business in is bringing new people in. What about those of us that already live here? What's the incentive for us? You understand what I'm trying to ask? There's so many people, I commute, there's so many people in this community that commute to go to somewhere else to work. Just look at the amount of people that have to go to Lamar's to go to work, or go to Rock Valley to go to work. What is the incentive to get, if we have this happen, what would be the incentive to say, come back to Hawarden to work? What would be that incentive? Because we all live here, we all pay taxes, and the city's doing a good job on a lot of these fronts. But what about us? What about the ones that already live here? What would be the benefit for us, the ones that already live here and have lived here our whole lives?
Okay, that goes to Jessica.
For the current residents, I think highlighting the opportunities that are already available and making sure that people are immersing themselves into those type of things. Some people don't know that there's opportunities at the library available, or that there's a community dinner, and you don't have to be below the poverty line to go. You can just go to meet your neighbors. I think that highlighting those kind of opportunities is what keeps people in Hawarden, and I think that if we highlighted it, it would be able to bring new people in too, to be hey, that community sounds awesome because they're doing a lot of really neat things. But also talking to people that already live here about, hey, what kind of amenities do you think Hawarden needs, or what we need to improve on? Do we need to, fix up the bike trail, fix up the parks? Are there things that we want to work on that would keep you in Hawarden? Are there things that you're unhappy with? What types of things do you like? So we can really, address it from all angles.
Okay. Tim?
I don't really have any easy answers for your question. If there was some magic wand we could wave and get a business here, it'd be great. But unless somebody comes up with an idea, which usually, is the community comes up with ideas, there's nobody that's going to just say, oh, I wish I could come to Hawarden to open a business, so more people that live there could work there. So I have no magic formula for that.
Okay, Bob?
Make sure when, there is a business looking, or that we're talking during the council meetings, that really encourage people to come and give their opinion, and would this be someplace you'd want to work? Do you guys want to stop driving to Orange City or Lamar's to work and come work? Would you want to work here? Voice your opinion. And we would have to, make sure that we're transparent with everybody we're talking with.
Okay. Jen?
I think one thing that we, could be aware of is what kinds of jobs people are going out of town for. What are their skills? What are their careers outside of this town? And just to be aware of different businesses that are trying to come in, trying to start up those things, and maybe then, those are the kind of things that we go forward to more.
Goes to Rob.
I guess I got to look at that question in reverse, kind of what types of things would bring you to a job? It's probably the wages, it's probably your insurance, it's probably, your benefits with the company. All those things would have to be, taken into considered as an employer. So, you know, to get a business to come in that could compete with other business that you might be driving to Lamar's because you can make, what, 15, 20 bucks more an hour there? I don't know. It kind of depends on your skill set too. So all those kind of factors play in. But as far as, you know, bringing more jobs into town, I think there is some potential there, especially with the growing community that we do have. So, but we need input from the people too, so.
Okay. Thanks for your question. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Again, you don't have to go up to the lectern. You can stand up and say whatever you like. Must be some other questions. You're all happy? Okay. Well, and
For all.
pardon me?
Cookies and coffee for all.
Yeah, that's right. Well, anticipating there might not be a lot more audience questions, the Chamber has prepared a couple other ones we'd like to ask the candidates. And the first one is, we're focusing on economic development, obviously, right? So what is the city council role in economic development in a community the size of Hawarden? What should you be doing? Right now, the city hands it off to the Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Committee. What should be the role of the city council in developing economics in the community of Hawarden? And that goes to, no, it goes to Tim, starts.
What's the role?
Is it money? Is it cheering section? What is it?
I think a cheering section isn't bad, but it doesn't do much. And you can throw money away and say, okay, what do you want? And a lot of businesses, they can get more money from other towns and stuff, so I don't think it's money. I think the main, for me, the only way you grow a real business in a town is usually somebody comes up with an idea that lives in the town and wants to start that business there. So if you make it easy for those people that want to start something, if they have an idea, that would be a good thing. But the idea that we can go and compete with Orange City or Sioux Center when they have a better labor force and stuff, and attract some business from them, or steel or whatever. We've got a good, economically, we can offer people good things with our rates and stuff, with the utilities and stuff, but we're just not going to we're not going to be stealing other businesses into this area. So we just got to do whatever we can to anybody who has an idea. But I don't know if it.
So the city council's role is just financial, helping financially.
Well, financial or whatever we can do. If we know who to help, who to send them to, who to advise, but there's not a whole lot we can do.
Okay.
City council's role is to listen to the constituents and, listen to them and what do they want. He asked, what's the incentives? Well, tell us what jobs would entice you to stay in town. So it's just really is to, they vote us into office, we need to represent them.
Okay, Jen?
I think as city council, you can provide, we have a committee already that the people on there are committed to economic development. And I think we really need to listen to them and ask them what they need to help this move forward. And we need to support those and look at the situation and there's take a chance on one and just see how it goes, and just so that we, are showing some kind of movement forward.
Okay. Rob?
Yeah, I believe that, the chamber does a good job reaching out and trying to bring new development in. And maybe, Tim talked earlier about an economic development person. Maybe that's something we could help out with. But we're kind of limited on exactly what we can do, but we can sure try. I mean, that's the main thing. So is get out there and visit and try to get businesses to come a little bit more, so.
Okay, Jessica?
I like all of their ideas. So, piggyback on top of those, obviously talk to the people in town, ask them, what where are you guys working? What jobs are, more attractive outside of town? Like, if we had those jobs available in Hawarden, would you be interested in that? I think that, like, the labor force, like, there are people here, but everybody's already established in their new jobs. But if there was something available here, I think that a lot of people would change their minds, and instead of commuting, they would try and work in Hawarden if the pay and benefits and all of that is, comparable. Working with, getting someone who specializes in economic development and, like, being able to collaborate with them, and maybe even, like, door knocking, people on city council to door knock and talk to people in town and say, hey, like, what kinds of businesses do you think would be successful in Hawarden? Is there some kind of effort that you would like to see going on here? And I just think it's a lot of communication and getting ideas, and it doesn't hurt to ask, and yeah, it's good.
Okay. We made it all the way around, didn't we? Okay. All right. The next question, this is shifting gears a little bit, but the next question that we came up with was, one of the obvious functions of city government is to improve the quality of life in the community. Recreational opportunities, for example, clean, safe environments, city-owned and maintained services, and things like that. Hawarden City Council has a long tradition of being involved in those quality of life issues. How would you, on the council, continue that tradition? And I think Bob is first.
Community events, the Labor Day celebration is a great event that happens in, that's unique to us. Talk with people from other towns all the time, they're like, what are you doing on Labor Day? I'm like, this is, that's our big day. Maybe some more events like that for quality of life, and, get the people excited about this. We have a pretty good football team playing football right now, and it seems the community's coming together to follow them, and just make sure that we're doing things, that are enjoyable to do in town here. Like I said, the community suppers and the, different meals around the churches and all the events, and all that stuff's fun to go to, and we just need to make sure we, support the chamber that they are able to, have some more events.
Okay. Jen?
I think to keep the quality of life as it is, or even better, is to keep these events going that people love to go to. By talking to other people about what I've heard of, like, other towns have done or something like that, and just to try and bring those same ideas here, because they did have so much, like, a good time somewhere, and just to try and bring the same kind of thing here that people are really interested in.
Okay. Rob?
I think that, the community events is really good. Labor Day. I know this fall we hosted a fall conference for our state. They got to come and see Callio Village. Just amazed what we have here to offer if we really look at it, and it's probably underutilized in a lot of ways. So trying to take what we have and making that more available to people is great. We have great trail systems and nice city parks and pools and stuff like that. So our quality of life, I think, is really well here, and the city council has done a good job, and the chamber and everybody promoting those things. So, but if we can continue to maybe sell our untold story a little bit about what our community is about, I think we could even attract more people here that way.
Yeah, I think highlighting all the things that we do have going on in town. I mean, there's so many different groups. I mean, like, there's the football teams, and there's God Squad, and there's stuff at the library, and there's the parades, and all the different sports teams. And I think it would be awesome to have a MOPS group in town. I gotta find some people who would want to be a part of that. But I think it'd be, I think all of those type of things are what contribute to the quality of life here in Hawarden, and if people were to know more about them, then maybe they'd be more involved in the community, and they'd be happier with the quality of life here in town. Not everybody has access to the internet and knows what's going on. Not everybody has TV or cell phones, and so kind of making sure that we have a type of outreach where it is able to get to everybody, even language barriers of people without technology to learn about what's going on in town. I like going to all this stuff in town. It's fun. It's a good way to meet people And the community dinners, yeah, I think everybody's pretty familiar with those. It's such a good time. Like, it's not just a meal. It really is fellowship and getting to know your neighbor. And I think that it's been kind of difficult organizing those the past, year with the leadership change. But we're trying to get that set up, and I think that a lot of people really appreciate that opportunity for fun, food, and fellowship. And so, yeah, Hawarden's a really nice place to live. I like it a lot, and I think that quality of life here has nothing but room to grow.
Tim?
Well, we do have a couple issues coming up where the pool is ending its life about, it's kind of getting time where we're going to either have to redo it or replace it or something. The golf course is losing membership every year a little bit. We got to figure out some way of trying to make that a viable unit. And so we do have some issues coming up that we got to figure out, try to save them and stuff and keep the quality of life as nice as it is. But otherwise, things are moving ahead.
Okay. Last question I have for you is, part of the city council's job is to create a vision for the future of the community, the future of Hawarden. If you're looking down the road quite a ways and like 10 years down the line, what kind of vision would you have for us? Where would you like us to be? What would you like to see created here that would really be beneficial, good for the community? Would you like to see it grow? Would you like to see it stay the same? Would you like to see more recreational opportunities, or you'd like to see Amazon bring their headquarters here, or something like that? And that starts with
With me?
Jen.
Okay. To create what we see as a vision in
Just,
10
yeah, what kind of a vision do you see for the community way down the line, 10 years, 20 years even? Who knows?
I think just looking here tonight, just to see 5 candidates for 3 positions, we are already creating something that maybe we haven't seen for a while, just to kind of get more people involved in also the younger generation, to teach them what it means to be a community and to be a small town and what we all do for each other. And I think that will carry on really, really far, and we can just be a really caring community and really show
Okay.
them.
Rob?
10 to 15 years down the line, hopefully we grow a little bit, community-wise, housing-wise, improve our streets, also the parks and see them grow and mature into older parks and development. So, but no, I think Hawarden's on the right track, and if we can just grab what we can when we can and try to make it work, and I think that's what they've done in the past. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Jessica?
In 10 to 15 years, well, first of all, on the Hawarden website, it says, like, moving forward in Hawarden. And I think that is a good slogan for us, because we are still moving forward. Maybe it's slowly, but with all of these ideas and whoever gets elected, like, we obviously all care about the town, and so I think it's a win-win for all of us. But if we can just, continue moving forward, having housing options and job options, and making sure that, the nuts and bolts of the town are running, the streets are looking good, attracting newcomers, maintaining the people who are already here, making sure that we're happy too. I mean, not only we want more people to join us in Hawarden, but we want the people who already live here to make sure that they're happy with the amenities and services that are provided here. And I think it's, growth, but I think it would be also just like maintaining people's happiness. Like, if the town just continues to grow and people are unhappy, that wouldn't really make much sense. So just making sure it's, quality over quantity. I'm for growth, but I think we should definitely make sure that it's quality.
Okay. Tim?
Well, first, in 15 years, I'd really be happy if the old city hall was done. Because I've been working on that for 15 years, and it ain't done yet. And it's not going to be done in the next 5 or 10, I'm sure, but, so that would be nice. Maybe a apartment building or two. We could use some apartments. I'm not sure, the housing market just doesn't seem real positive in this town, and I don't know what we could do about that, but I'd certainly, if somebody wanted to, I know we've talked about building a spec home or something, or, with the chamber and stuff, and it's a tough market. So I'm not really sure about that, but if we could bring a couple more businesses, get some more women involved we've got some really great downtown businesses now, and it's all just the entrepreneur, the ladies that are saying, hey, I can do this, and they're doing it. So I don't know how we can get more of them involved, but it'd be great.
Okay.
10 to 15 years, yeah, I want to see growth, but, I don't want to lose sight of who we are and stay, we don't want to forget our history. We have a great little Callio village out there that, we have some great things here, and I just make sure in the next 10 to 15 years, we keep what we have and, gradually grow.
Okay, good. Do you have any other questions? Yes.
As a board member on the chamber, we've seen over the last few years, try to run events and different things, we see the number of volunteers continue to decrease, especially amongst younger population. So you as a council member, what can you do, or what would you do to promote volunteerism in our town, especially amongst the youth?
Okay.
But that's a tough one. But it's just that we're going to have to get out there and talk to them and try to get them involved. You don't want to really force anybody to work, but the more hands, the better. So if we can get them out there at a young age and show them, what it's all about. And everybody wants to ride in the parade, but a lot of people don't want to do the work for it. So, it's just getting them out there and getting their hands dirty a little bit and teaching them how to work and showing them what to do, and maybe they'd step up and do it. So.
As a millennial, I like to volunteer. I think it's fun, and so I think a lot of people, the youth population, find volunteering just work. It's not fun. So if there's a way that we can talk to people to say, hey, can you help us organize the parade? Like, we're going to have some pizza, or, you can bring your friends, we'll have music, just like making it fun. I think that would be a good idea. And, media outreach is a really good way. I know that there are, several groups like FFA and the football team, don't they have to have specific amount of volunteer hours for certain projects? And so it's getting them involved that way. Making it a fun environment for them, so that even when they don't have to have a core set amount of volunteer hours, that they're like, hey, that was kind of fun, I'd like to do that again. And so just giving everybody, making volunteering fun, because it can be. It doesn't have to be boring work.
Tim?
We don't have any idea, because we've tried, like I say, for 10, 15 years, and I understand the whole thing, and getting people involved, it's just getting harder and harder. I don't have any easy answers for that either. I know a lot of parents get their children to come, and it kind of helps, but trying to get new young people involved, I don't know.
Bob?
Getting young people to volunteer, yeah, that's a difficult task. One thing you need to do is show them the benefit that they're going to get from volunteering, or, make them show them how they can take ownership in the events, and, what it's doing to help the town, and educate them. They will come out and do it if they see a reason why. Right now, that's the group we're working with right now.
Mm-hmm. Jen?
I think by making the event something that they want to do, something that they're really excited about, it may be different than what we've done in the past, but maybe something has to be different about what these young people want to do, by talking to them, and just getting their ideas, and maybe we can create an event around something that they really want to do and really feel passionate about. a lot of things too. I remember talking to a group of gals at church one time, and they were talking about our living windows and how much fun they had. And you could just see the excitement on some of those, on their faces to bring back some of those traditions that they remember as a kid as well. And just by talking to people and seeing what they're really excited about, trying to create events around that, maybe will help with the volunteers.
Okay. Other questions? Yes.
Yes, I know in the last 5 or 10 years, the main drags, used to be very busy with youth. Exactly, I believe that it is a driving force in the community to stay active, youth, and especially after our awesome football games and everything. I know the teen centers, I'm not sure how active they are in our community. Is there financial ways or more teen options besides just specific events, maybe get our youth out there, just on the main drags and scooping loops and having places to go. And is there any funding? I'm not sure how this question is directed.
Funding for youth programs, is that what you're saying?
Facilitation, yeah, basically facilities and programs and such.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's directly coordinated to just business and economical development, but I remember the youth definitely being a lot more out there on the streets there.
So you're asking what can the council do to get kids more involved in the community?
Correct. Any financial plans for the teen centers, or I know it's way on the other end of town. Not sure what options they have.
Okay, well, how do you see that? That comes to Jessica, I think, huh? No, it goes to Rob. Yeah.
That's a tough one. A lot of things have changed over the years as far as what the dynamics of what the kids do anymore. So, back in my day, you had a pool hall or you had an arcade area, and kids kind of all congregated around that, or down at the car wash. They just do a lot of different things than we do, than what we did today. So, but I believe the community center for the kids is run by a church right now. So I don't know if the city helps out with that at all, but maybe there is more that we can do, that we can research and find more activities to give kids better opportunity to get out. Of course, we have in the summer, you got a lot of things you can do as far as the basketball courts and tennis courts and outdoor activities that they can do, but yeah.
Yeah, talking to that teen center and seeing like is it being successful? Do they have more needs? Do they need new materials? Do they need help with outreach? Not everybody knows that it's even available there. So yeah, it's just communicating with them and seeing if it works, if it doesn't, if it needs to be changed, maybe trying to get that addressed, and giving teens like a safe place to kind of get involved in the community and have a support system of their peers and outside of school. So yeah, just talking with them, and I think that if it's possible, if city council could help facilitate like growth in the teen center or any kind of involvement in the community, it should be something definitely up for discussion.
Okay, Tim?
Well, with the teen center, because I think it's Youth for Christ thing, the city really can't help them much, but if I win the lottery, we'll finish the old city hall and we'll make that a
Teen center?
we'll make that a pizza place, a pool hall, we'll have a movie theater in it. So there are possibilities there, and it'd be a great facility, but it's just, right now, there's not the money involved, or there's a lot of money involved to finish it, and we don't have it.
I know they're doing a good job with the Youth for Christ. They seem to be up at school doing quite a bit, and the kids seem to be involved in it when they are. And, one thing maybe the city could do is provide a place for them to have their events. We do have a great community center downstairs. Maybe once in a while they'll have an event down there or something. But yeah, I agree with Tim. It's, it's kind of the Youth for Christ thing, and then we don't want to step on too many toes.
Okay. Jen?
Yeah, I think the same with the teen center. I think that you're seeing a lot of things come out with what they are doing here in the community, and that's really awesome for some of those that are able to go up there. Maybe just encouraging our youth to get involved with what is already there with school, and there's so many opportunities there for them to be able to be involved with that and to meet new people. Kids I have, one, they communicate differently these times with their phones and all that kind of stuff, and sometimes they sit right next to each other on a couch and text each other, but they're just different, and we just need to find really what works for them.
Okay. Rodney?
We've always talked about economic development and all that, but I look at our main street, and I think a thriving, good-looking main street will bring a lot of business to town as well. I mean, our main street, the street is a mess. The sidewalks are a mess. Some of the curb and gutter is all broke out on there. I know the businessmen are doing the best they can to keep it looking nice. But I think that something should be done on the main street, and ask any of these people up here if they would have any plans of what could be done. If you have a thriving looking main street, you're going to bring other businesses to town as well. And then I'm going to say a negative thing. My wife should leave now probably, because I'm negative too much. All that talk about Youth for Christ. And I guess it's a great organization. I don't have much use for it personally. And I'll tell you why. When they first started, they needed a place to meet in town. I had offered them my building downtown. I went to one on the board, said, "I'll let you have the building there." He said, "Well, we don't want the Youth for Christ downtown because we might get undesirable kids coming in." That was the response I got.
From,
I'm not going to say who it was from. He was on the board for Youth for Christ.
oh, okay.
And I thought, if you're going to just get the good kids in town, I don't have much use for it. So I don't know what their policy is. But it sure turned me off on it.
So your question is?
What do you have, any ideas to improve our main street?
Okay. That goes to Jessica.
Well, you said, infrastructure, it's lacking, it's broken messed up curbs and, vacant buildings, and so some pretty basic aesthetic things, just fixing those kinds of things up, if there's any busted windows, making sure that those get fixed up. The new city, or the old city hall, still under construction, but the new windows look pretty awesome in it, and so, doing things like that, and it's going to cost money to fix those things up, but if that's what it's going to take to attract new people into town, and they're like, hey, this is a nice place to live. Look, they really take care of Main Street, and they have all these fun businesses and new people starting businesses up here. Focusing on the infrastructure and talking to the current people who are on Main Street, on Central, and ask them, hey, what keeps you here? Is there something that we can do to help your business thrive here? And ask them, because they're the ones who are there the most. They're the ones who see it. They're the ones who know probably the ins and outs of things. I know that the alleys in the back, I think it was on both sides of Central, that they were recently repaved, and so that's really nice because there's a lot of trucks that go in and out of there, and so that's sort of behind the scenes, so maybe making sure that we are fixing the in front of the scenes stuff too would be a good idea.
Okay, Tim?
Well, in 5 years, they're the first businessman that's complained, asking for that I've talked to. Most of them are afraid because we've talked about it, because we know we need to replace the street and redo the city water and electric and stuff and redo the light poles. But a lot of guys are saying they're already paying too much for taxes, and they're already having enough trouble just surviving. So the idea of shutting down the street for 6 months or a year, or whatever, however long it takes, because there's a lot of utilities that would have to be replaced, would possibly close several of them. So I don't know if you're the majority or the minority, and I know we got to do it, it's going to come sometime, but you aren't, everybody isn't clamoring, please fix the streets, because we need it, and I think we do, but, so I don't have the answer for that, that it's something that'd be nice to get done, but I don't know how, if we do one side of the street at a time, so we keep the street open, it costs twice as much to, instead of just closing it, but if we close it, the businesses might close too, so we'd have to have definite lot more discussion with a lot of the businesses before we tackle that.
Tom?
Yeah, we definitely need to get input from everybody on Central before we close Central and repave and do the gutters. It's needed, yeah, it is needed, but that's just, another physical decision that's gonna have to be made as a council. But, we'll wanna get a lot of input from the people downtown. It's good that you're here telling us this, and that's what needs to happen more. What are the people, what would they like to see done around town that we can help with?
Jen?
Yep. And I also encourage that any business person that really wants these new upgrades and is willing to, again, take the time out from people coming to their front door, and we would have to make it inconvenient for a little while, but any kind of improvement to the look of the community to really, and again, with pipes and stuff, I'm not quite sure about all that underneath yet. That would have to be redone. It could take some time, and it definitely would take time away from any kind of convenience that we do have right now, but maybe that would outweigh what we would get in the future. I also see a lot of businesses wanting new construction. There is a lot of that with different development, business development areas, in town, and you do see that where they're weighing the cost of an older building to renovate versus maybe a new efficient building. So it's just kind of different things that we'd have to look into hopefully as those opportunities come up.
No, when I drive downtown, I realize, that those streets definitely need redone at some point, and it is going to take a lot of commitment from the business owners and the city council to work together to try to figure out how they can do that. And there's no time that's a good time to shut down your front of your store for a while, but at some point that they'll have to be addressed. So I do see that as something that we need to be looking at in the future and working with our city businesses downtown to see what impact and how we can do it, and how we can do it for the least amount of cost to get that job done. So,
Okay, that covers the waterfront, right? We got time for another question, anybody? Yep.
With a new city administrator, hopefully beginning their employment next year, and the council providing oversight and guidance, discretion on what they do. What are your plans for the first year of their employment? And I guess, how do you plan to help them be successful in there?
I think Tim's the first one up here.
We're going to make them work hard. Get out the whip. I don't know. I think it'll be the same as with Gary. We'll just try to work together and keep things moving ahead. I don't know. I don't have any specific things. Just continue the struggle.
Make sure you listen to their new ideas, and I'm sure they'll come in. The new person's going to have ideas, and we need to be open to some of those, and, we don't want to do everything that Gary wanted done, and this is, it's his administration, it's his time. So just support him and, make sure that we're doing everything we can to, see his agenda moving forward.
Okay, Jen?
Yeah. I hope the new administrator that comes in is very forward-thinking, and I'm sure that they have picked somebody that would want to do that. With me, the first year, I think there's just going to be a lot of learning of different laws, all of that kind of stuff, and there's going to be and I'm more of a technical kind of person, so I just want to make sure that everything is right on paper, and if we if we just can keep supporting him and keep encouraging him or her, sorry, to do what's best for the community, I think that that's what we need to do.
Rob?
I'm like Jen. I think, as being a new council member, we're going to have to look to our senior council members that have been here for a little while and take their advice on their input on kind of how things go until we figure out our positions as and how they go. So, but I will be there and be as supportive as I can to whoever the candidate is. So.
Yeah, look to the current council members for guidance and the new city administrator, and remaining, transparent and open with each other and accepting of new ideas, and, talking with the community about their ideas too, and it's our home, and so I think all of our voices matter at that table, and so being able to, like us as city council people, making sure that we're talking to our neighbors and relaying that message to our, other council members and the city administrator, and just making sure that everybody's happy with what possible projects are going to be at hand.
Okay. Anybody else? Last chance. We're going to wrap it up. Okay, Travis.
How would you differentiate between your personal ideals and what's best for our community? And in what ways would you differentiate those to yield it?
First, do you understand the question?
Let's say that again.
In what ways would you differentiate your personal ideals for what is best for our community? And how would you do that?
Okay, and Bob is first up on that one.
Well, you want to make sure you don't come in with an agenda. Come in, be willing to learn, and, it's not necessarily your concern, it is all of our concerns together. And we want to make sure that we're working together every meeting. And, you want to voice your opinions, but you want to make sure that, thinking of everyone else as you voice those opinions.
Okay, Jen?
Yeah, I agree with Bob. We all care very passionately about a lot of things, and what we need to remember is that we need to make these decisions and we need to work together for the majority, the whole. And there is sometimes where you're just going to have to, you may not always maybe agree personally with some things, but we're going to have to make sure that we make the best decision for the community, even if it's something that you're going to say that you don't maybe agree. I guess I don't know how to say that with it, but just know that I will always try and make a decision that's better for the whole, even if sometimes I don't, I think that myself, that I'm not going to agree with it, but I will.
Okay,
I will try and keep them separate, definitely.
all right, thank you. Rob?
As far as personal ideas, I agree with them. You need to leave your personal things at home. I really, as far as having agendas, I don't feel I have that. Working with other people, you get different ideas, and being able to sit down and listen to them and their input, I think is always good for the community, and I think that's what we'll strive to do.
Jessica?
As a social worker, it's incredibly important to separate your personal and your professional life, and so I feel that I already have a lot of experience in being able to do that, because even if I'm working with a family, like, my values might, be different than their values, but I'm not going to push my agenda or whatever onto them. Like, it's whatever's best interest for them and their values. And so what I'm trying to get at is that, like, being able to separate those things, I think I'd be able to keep my own personal, like, well, let me rethink that. Yeah, I don't think that I would have a problem, like, separating my own personal life from my professional life as a city council person, and really taking into consideration people in the community and what they are interested in happening in town over maybe my preference for something. So, yeah, just people first over, your own preferences.
Okay. Tim?
Well, Hawarden's number one. I mean, that's the main goal for all of us. I'm just really happy right now that after hearing the discussions tonight, we got 5 really good people running, and it's really a good problem to have, to who to vote for and stuff. Differentiate, well, I've already learned, I would like Old City Hall to be done. I haven't asked for $1 million to finish it, and I've never pulled it, Doc and I have disagreed about just minor things about it, but you just sit there and do whatever's best for the community. That's what we're all shooting for. It's a good year for us. I think Hawarden's really lucky. I'm happy.
Okay. We started with you, didn't we? Okay. All right. Well, we're about out of time, so we're going to wrap it up. And I think these folks will hang around for a little bit and eat some cookies with you. So if you have other questions for them, feel free to socialize and talk to them about whatever your concerns are. I really appreciate the quality of the audience tonight. You were very polite and asked some good questions. I appreciate that. But even more, I appreciate the 5 really good candidates we have here for Hawarden City Council. If I could vote in this election, I don't know who I'd vote for. I'd have to think real hard. So, and so that wraps it up. Tim will have a hat up here you can drop contributions to the Old City Hall in.
Just by hand.
Just a hand, yeah, okay. So thank you, candidates. We appreciate your willingness to come, and we really appreciate you being willing to serve on this really high-paying job. So even if you don't win, thank you very much for your volunteering, okay? Thank you, and thank you all for coming so